Hey, how you doing, everybody? John Arezzi here for another edition of Pro Wrestling Spotlight Live, streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, at our Matt Memory site, on both of those platforms. So we want to welcome everybody to another edition of Pro Wrestling Spotlight. A very exciting day and a very exciting couple of days for me. I am very happy to announce that after several months, since June actually, when I gave a company called the Transfer Lab here in Franklin, Tennessee, my archives, and take a look at that. I mean, the 8mm movies, the videotapes, all the files, all of the archives, my entire life in a box. They're all done. They're all digitized. And I was up almost all evening last night till the wee hours of the morning, watching my life. It was almost like your life was passing before you. They put everything on these hard drives for me. So not only were the obvious things that I was excited about there, which included the films that I shot as a teenager at Madison Square Garden, all of them. I mean, everything is done and color corrected, and they look gorgeous. I'm going to show you one of those today, one of those matches. But I also found a hidden gem, which was the match that I wrestled in. The second match that I did, and that was me teaming up with Joe Turco against Chief Jay Strongbow and the High Prince Peter Maivia. So I found that. There was also a time in Long Island in 1990, I believe it was 91, that Cactus Jack worked against Sonny Beach, Bob Orton, Paul Orndorff at a match in, I believe, Plain Edge, Long Island, and I interfered so Cactus would stop pummeling Sonny Beach, and then I faced the consequences and got the big elbow by Cactus. Found that. I thought that was lost forever. And then footage from the WGBB studios. On some of the tapes, I found old WWF matches from Washington, D.C. with Ray Morgan as the announcer. But there was all of the matches I did in Southeast Asia and all the Lucha Libre matches that I promoted as well with AAA. So much stuff is there, and just countless things in the archives, which I'm now going to figure out on how to share all of this with you. So it was a long night, but it was an exciting one. As you can see, I'm wearing my Pro Wrestling Spotlight t-shirt, and that was certainly, I got another package in the mail this week. Just take a look. The Pro Wrestling Spotlight caps are now in. The Matt Memories caps are here. Also, really good quality stuff. Christian Theodore from Forward Merch. tinyurl.com/PWS store if you want to get some of this great merchandise. We have the original convention that we're talking about on our podcast right now. So we had some very cool shirts come in today. I'm grabbing all of this stuff. Stuff is falling around everywhere. But take a look at this beauty. That's a beautiful one in royal blue. We got one in green. Too much going on. I do want to mention that Michael Holmes from ECW Press was scheduled to be on the show today. Michael sent me an email yesterday, and he had come down with something. Thank God it wasn't COVID-19, but he had lost his voice. He promises to return to us. So instead of Michael, we're going to play you some of these archives that I found. I think you're really going to enjoy some of this stuff. I mean, some of the stuff from Southeast Asia just blew me away. All the matches, all the angles, and some really incredible stuff. And then later in the program, we're going to be joined by Bob Smith, and Bob has a new website, bobsotherstuff.com, and Bob will be discussing that site. And he wrote this article about me which actually blew me away. So I wanted to bring him on. Bob, of course, spent many years at PWI and was one of their top writers for many, many years. But as we always do, this part of the show, we bring on Alex Robertson, who's in New Digs up there in Canada, to go over the news with us. And Alex, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, John?
I am tired. It was a long night, staying up all night to just I couldn't stop clicking on the files. I just couldn't stop because it was just there was so much of it, and I'm sure that I'll be spending another evening tonight taking a look back and just being just fascinated by everything that I had in these archives. And now we're going to find a way to share these with the fans somehow as I plan how we're going to do that. But how's everything up there? How the new digs look good?
Yeah, so I have my own office now. I've separated myself from my bedroom because I wanted to get all of the work outside of the space where I'm supposed to sleep. So I myself am not kept up at night. So now I have my new office. So this is where you'll be seeing me every Saturday now.
Here we go. Excellent. So was it a busy week this week in pro wrestling?
Absolutely. I mean, every week seems to be busy, but the more and more I really look into everything, it just more things keep coming up. So the latest thing would be WWE on Monday Night Raw. They announced that they were going to have a draft this week, and that started last night. So it was basically the same way the drafts have worked in the past. So for every 2 picks that SmackDown gets, Raw will get 3. Now, after looking at the draft picks, there weren't a lot of them that were overwhelmingly surprising. One of the ones that I thought was very surprising, though, we saw that Xavier Woods came back from the New Day. Mm-hmm. And Stephanie McMahon, who was announcing the draft picks, came out and said that there was going to be a tag team title match and that it was going to be the New Day. So, of course, all 3 members of the New Day come out, and of course, they win the tag titles. But little bit of a twist, Stephanie McMahon comes back out and says, great, so now that you guys have won the tag titles, you guys will be moving to Raw. And Big E was left out of that. So it looks like Big E is going to get his own singles run, which is kind of cool. I think he deserves it. I think since Xavier Woods has been away, he has proved that he can be a formidable singles competitor for sure. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does for sure. Another kind of maybe not so surprising move was AJ Styles, who will be going to Monday Night Raw. He ended his feud with Jeff Hardy and Sammy last week or 2 weeks ago. So it's not really surprising that he's making the move. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing different promos of Bianca Belair showing off her strength and her CrossFit skills. And it's all very impressive, but we didn't really know where it was going to lead to. But it turns out that last night she was drafted to SmackDown. So she will be on the SmackDown women's roster. And I think she can really prove herself there. I think she's a great competitor. She was excellent in NXT. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she does as well.
Yeah, there's always new twists and turns when they do a draft. And it's previous when the WWE started the draft many years ago. Are the performers still in the dark till it happens? Do you know, or is it now more planned out? Because in the beginning, a lot of it was like they were all surprised, and it used to be McMahon's way of like shaking things up with these performers.
Yeah, from what I understand, I think that some of the talent is left in the dark. Although I think the wrestlers are the ones that are really left in the dark in terms of talent, that be commentators or ring announcers. I think they know beforehand. Yeah. But I really think that everyone else doesn't really know. And if they're putting it out that way and then they're kind of, maybe not telling us that people do know and it's all an act, I don't know. But from what it looks like from the outside, that they are making it look like the wrestlers have no idea what's going to happen that night.
Yeah, it's still, it's not like it was in even last year. I mean, when the travel schedule was crazy where, they would be going to different parts of the country. And so now it's all kind of stationed in Florida. So at least it's a little bit easier for the performers when they switch brands.
Although I don't know how much easier it's going to get because Florida, the state of Florida, did announce this week that they are allowing stadiums to be at full capacity. Now, I don't know what kind of a decision that is. I don't know whether AEW or WWE would ever follow suit with that. And even any sports team in general. I mean, they have a lot of sports teams down there, be it hockey, football, baseball, whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't know why anybody would go to a full capacity event in the state that the world is in right now, especially the US.
Wow. So full capacity is going to be allowed again in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
When does that take place? I live in the States and I didn't even read that or see that.
Yeah, it was kind of just announced very casually. They didn't say when it was going to start. So I'm assuming that it's going to start as soon as possible. If they're not giving a date, I'm assuming they're letting all of these sports leagues and teams decide whether or not they want to go that way. I haven't heard of any of them that want to do that. So I have a feeling that everything is pretty much going to stay status quo for now.
Well, we'll have to see, obviously, because I'm sure, as you know, where you live up in Canada and even here in the States, I mean, we had like 55,000 cases, new cases yesterday. Yeah. So it's getting worse. It's not getting better. So we'll have to see.
Well, even here, we have this week, we had a huge spike in just Quebec alone. We're having over 1,000 cases a day, going up to 1,100 and 1,300 cases, and everything else is getting shut down. So it's not getting better by any means. So, I mean, tread lightly, if you're a sports team, tread lightly.
Yeah, I feel, fortunate in a way that I'm kind of a recluse here in Franklin, Tennessee. And since I left the music business, I don't have the meetings like I used to have and deal on the outside with so many people. Now that I'm back in the wrestling bubble, so to speak, I really work out of my place, and I have very little interaction with people. I mean, I go out for a walk every day, and that's kind of my outside. I go to the post office and mail stuff out that people have ordered, but I'm keeping my distance, and I'm just trying to be as careful as possible. But my engagement face to face with people has really been limited since I left the music business earlier this year. So I consider that in a way a little bit of a blessing. So I don't have to interact with a lot of people, but just dealing with everybody here, with the audience that we have that's growing, and all the interaction I do on social media now and the platforms that I'm broadcasting. It's a way for me to, keep interaction with the human race, so to speak.
Yeah, you and me both, John.
Yeah. So you stuck in the house too? I mean, you don't venture out that often?
No, from what I understand from my own job, my full-time job, I'm going to be home till at least the end of the year, which, I mean, in a way, it kind of sucks because I do really enjoy my work and I love the people that I work with. But at the same time, I understand that it's, for safety reasons. But now this week, they've taken away more things. So our gyms, all of our gyms and all of our recreational sports teams are no longer allowed to open and no longer allowed to practice. So and that's for an indefinite period of time. So it's not really looking good here, but just as you said, I'm happy where I am. I cannot complain. I have my health. My family's healthy. Everybody's doing fine. And this weekend we're celebrating Thanksgiving here up in Canada. And we're told that we're not allowed anybody who doesn't live in our house to come over for obvious reasons. And I'm okay with that. Like I have grandparents. I have an uncle who has heart problems. Like I wouldn't want to engage with that either. So stay home and stay safe is all I can say.
Yeah. I know this is a wrestling show, obviously, but just out of curiosity, is Canada much more unified than what's happening here in the United States? Do you have a faction that, doesn't believe in what's happening? And tell me a little bit about that, and then we'll move on to more wrestling stuff. But I'm really curious to see how everything is in Canada in regard to how seriously people are taking this, or if they believe it's phony, like some people here in the States do.
Absolutely. I mean, I think from what I'm hearing from other provinces all across Canada, it's all kind of the same thing. Everybody has their own different amount of cases, different issues, what have you. Quebec and Ontario, however, are the hardest hit right now. And I know for Montreal, generally speaking, there's a mix. I think the age group that seems to have an issue is 18 to 40 or 25 to 40. There's a mix of those people who don't believe that the virus is that serious. And that's unfortunate, because the more this keeps happening, the more things are going to get shut down. We've had protests against masks, people congregating in downtown Montreal, protesting wearing masks when it's supposed to be mandatory. Even when I go to the gym, we're supposed to wipe things down. We're supposed to wear a mask at all time unless you're physically doing something. And I see people not doing it, from every age group. So, I think it's pretty well the same situation all over Canada. I'd like to think that the more time goes on, the more people will see that this is a serious problem, and that we all need to work together to get things down, to get all these cases down. But it is what it is right now, and we're just hoping for the best, but it's not looking good right now.
Yeah. Well, it is a scary thing, and whether you believe it or not, it's changed the way we all live. And I'm certainly hoping that 2021, as it rolls along, when we get there, things change, and this thing kind of dissipates. And it's just a scary thing, because everybody wants to get back to normal. Everybody does, and it's not easy. No. But at least we have wrestling, right?
Right.
At least we have wrestling on every week, and we can talk about it, and we can report on it, and at least that's something that gives us a little bit of pleasure.
Definitely. And I think that this week was especially cool for me, because when I was watching AEW this week, they were celebrating Jericho's 30 years in the business, and they had a bunch of different people on, from wrestlers from his past and musicians, because he is a musician himself, and people that he interacted with over the years. And for me personally, Jericho was actually part of my radio debut. I actually got to ask him a question when I was an intern at TSN, and I will never forget that. That was the coolest thing to me. So, seeing things like that on TV and getting to see all of these wrestlers go out there and perform every single week is kind of giving me a little bit of pleasure and hope. And it kind of distracts me from what's happening here. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. And I really hope that they do find joy in that every week.
Yeah. Yep. I do as well. Mm-hmm. Anything else going on in the news?
Well, we have to look forward to Monday, because on Monday Night Raw, we're going to continue the draft. This will be part 2 of the draft. Okay. So we're looking forward to that. And it'll be AEW's anniversary show. Cool. So they look like they have a pretty packed card with a bunch of title matches. So be sure to look for that.
Yep. I'm going to try to catch up this week, now that I'm, in the next day or so, watching all these archives. I still haven't seen SmackDown, and I'm looking forward to this upcoming week to try to get the time. All I have is time, right? Okay. So look at the shows and catch up. And, I guess we'll go over all the events that happen this upcoming week on next week's show.
I'll have it all for you, John.
Excellent. Well, I certainly appreciate it. And you stay safe up there. And, congratulations on the new digs there in the home office.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch next Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see you next Saturday.
All right. Have a great week.
You too.
Thanks, Alex. Alex Robertson from SlamWrestling.net. And what a great team they have. If you go to SlamWrestling.net, all the news, the breaking stories. And there was a death this week of somebody that lived in Tennessee for many years, a performer named Len Rossi. And he had a health store here in Franklin, Tennessee. And he was certainly a legend in the wrestling business from years ago. So he passed away at the age of 91 this week, and all the details you could read when you go to SlamWrestling.net and all the other stuff that they cover. It's a great website. It's filled with news, and proud to have the association with Slam Wrestling and Greg Oliver, his team, and of course Alex is part of that. And we're going to bring on Bob Smith now from New York. Bob, there you go.
How are you?
I like the new production value that you've brought to us.
Which is what? I can't even figure out what you're talking about.
New computer, the high-end computer that you got that you were telling me about.
I actually didn't get this computer's like 7 years old. It's the cheapest one I ever bought. It works the best for this.
Looks great, man. Looks great.
We're trying.
So I wanted to bring you on, and you've been on the show before, and of course you were a staple on the old Pro Wrestling Spotlight radio show with your contributions to that show and your frequent guest appearances.
Those were the days.
Yeah, those were the days. You reached out to me and you wanted to get a few of my links for something that you were working on. I didn't know exactly what it was, but on your website, which is bobsotherstuff.com, and it's really a cool website. And I'm going to share the screen for a second and bring that on. Let's see. There you go. Share it. And it's there's your site. And on the front page, there's a story that you wrote about me, and it was something I had to bring on just to personally thank you for. So thank you for that, Bob. I mean,
well,
you covered my career, and you said some incredibly nice things about me, and I really
nice things, but they were all just a list of things you've done. I mean, from the radio shows to the conventions to what you're doing now. I mean, this is a breath of fresh air. What's going on with you right now, and it's a revival. We all wondered where you'd been. Anybody who hadn't been in contact with you for a while. So it's just great to have you back. And I want to get as many people involved as I can because this is fun, man. This is the way it always was. Bands sitting around talking about what happened on TV this week. And Alex's role here is just excellent because she can see all of the new shows. I can't always see all of them. So it's like I actually learned stuff from her that I don't know.
Yeah,
so
I do too.
yeah. So this is pretty cool. I mean, it's great to have you back. That's all I know. And I just wanted to inform people that you are back. And it was just a list of all your accomplishments. And when I sat down and I looked at it before I published it, I went, holy smokes, you've done a lot. You really have.
Well, it's it's been a crazy life. As I tell everybody, I mean, I never was afraid to blow the house up and start over again, and I did that many, many times in my life. From leaving wrestling, to going to baseball, and leaving baseball, going to music, and then going out of music and going back into wrestling, then leaving wrestling and going back into music. Yep. And now leaving music and going back into wrestling.
We were similar, but I was a performer. I said, I was on the road for 15 years as a blues singer, and I had some really nice moments there. I was on the House of Blues Radio Hour with Dan Aykroyd, and I performed with B.B. King 10 times, and there was a lot of really cool stuff that I got to do. And I have 4 albums; they're all still in print somehow. So somebody out there is enjoying them. And it's really funny about it. I got a check from ASCAP as a songwriter. It's the biggest check I ever got. It was like 3 weeks ago. I never had a check from them before. Wow. Why the internet? Because people stream this stuff, and if your accounting is good, you get paid. So I'm still getting residual income from my old days, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So what can I tell you?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I wanted to give you. I wanted to commend you on the site too. How did Bob's Other Stuff come about? Because you just don't talk about wrestling there. You talk about a wide variety of different topics, from entertainment, the arts.
Well, I don't want to say it's a male-oriented site, but it kind of is in a way, because it's like, if you notice when you open the site, it says Mr. Minutia. That's one of my old editors used to say, "You got a weird brain. You have all this minutia in your head." And he started calling me Mr. Minutia, and I figured that's just that rings. But I didn't call the URL that because it's too hard to spell. Right? I didn't figure people aren't going to spell minutia. It's kind of a hard word.
It is a hard word to spell. Yes.
Well, yeah. So it's bobsotherstuff.com, and we look at hobbies like watch collecting, pro wrestling. I did a controversial first column on somebody I thought is underrated in Baron Mikhail Cicluna. And I got some feedback on that. He was a jobber. And I'm like, oh, he wasn't. And then when I listed the stuff that he did early in his career, people said, I didn't know that.
Well, he had the tag team titles twice. I mean, I know with King Curtis, he had a tag team title run.
Well,
and he had a tag team title run with a guy named Smasher Sloan, I believe, back in '66.
The problem with Cicluna was he did what a lot of us do. As he got older, he stayed in town. He didn't go from federation to federation. And if you know anything about the old McMahon way of promotion, there were no angles back then. basically an angle with somebody beating up a jobber and putting him on a stretcher. That was the only angles they did in the 70s. So around 1980, he decided to stay home near his wife. You know, he was getting old. He was still in fantastic shape. He was like Dick Bockwinkel. He never changed, you know. And he decided, I'll just take whatever role they give me. And if you ever heard Superstar Graham talk about him, who was a friend of his, you know, near the end, they weren't paying him a whole lot because it was like he was first or second match in the card. And he was losing to like whoever came into town that was new at that point. Yeah. But I think he's got a record for even more than Bruno or Pedro Morales and people like that. He wrestled more in the Philadelphia Spectrum than any other WWF wrestler. He was on virtually every card there because I think he lived in the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah, one of the most famous angles, I guess, was when he was in the ring against Gorilla Monsoon in 1976, and that's when Muhammad Ali was there and jumped into the ring, and so he was part of that angle. But he had come to a couple of the conventions, and I always liked Baron Mikel Cicluna because he was the ultimate heel. With the foreign object, the roll of dimes that he'd reach out and he'd like everyone would see it except for the referee. Just go and get the coins out of his trunks.
At the end of his push around 1974 to 77, you know, when he was still considered a contender, he used to have this church key can opener. I mean, the thing was huge with the big end on it, you know, and he would jab people in the throat with that. And of course, the ref never saw it, and you know.
Yeah, but he was a great heel. But you also didn't you do something recently on the site with Captain Lou?
Yes, I look back to Captain Lou. It's actually a reprint of something I wrote for another site years and years ago. And, you know, here's the thing about Lou Albano. People forget, you know, with the rock and wrestling connection and how he changed over the years. In the beginning, he was the most vile, loathsome person ever to be televised on anything. He would say anything. He would do anything. He was a slob. Local interviews he did in the Albany area where I used to watch wrestling, he would just say anything on the local promos. He was really a repugnant character, but he was great. You know, you loved him for it because he walked that line between going too far and being really, really nasty.
Yep.
And I think he had more heat than any villainous wrestler for years there. You could put a bag of flour with him and he could get it over.
Yes, I mean, he was the consummate heel manager and even wrestler, one of the most amazing performers in the history of our business.
I think so, absolutely. And, you know, he had his gift of gab and he ran with it. And,
he certainly did, and there was no scripting him ever.
No, absolutely not. He was terrific. He was absolutely terrific and believable as all heck. And the fans hated him. I mean, Eddie just
very liberal with the blade.
Yeah, but go on YouTube and find like tag team title matches that his guys were in. The heat in the arenas was off the charts. Yeah. If he got hit, the whole place would erupt to their feet.
That was his mainstay, was the fact that he was the manager of 16 or 17 World Tag Team Champions, from the Valiant Brothers to the Blackjacks and the Executioners and the Wild Samoans and the Moondogs. And
they gave Lou all the match sets.
Yeah.
What I called the match set tag team. The WWE heel tag for years were match sets. Yukon Lumberjacks, Samoans, Moondogs. They were all like two of the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. They did. Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the NWA, you had Jack Briscoe and, you know, stuff like that. But the WWF, the villainous tag team seemed to be more of two of the same. You know, right? They sort of just slot them into a role, I guess.
Yeah, I miss those days too, because those were great when the tag team titles really meant something. Like any title really meant something back then. Now there's too many titles, and they change just so often, and it's not special anymore.
It's funny. I don't like to talk about modern wrestling that much because I don't want to burn my bridges. You know, it's like. It's changed, and I'll leave it at that.
I mean, you know, it's just generational, and it's evolution. You know, you certainly everybody who's watching this, for the vast majority of people who are here looking at this, probably long for those old days, and that's why I'm very excited about being able to show some of the archives. You know, too.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Those were the good old days.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. But like, back to the website, you know, we always. What it is, it's just a bunch of stuff. It's, you know, it's called a website you don't need because it's got a bunch of minutia stuff that you might not know. there's a little humor there. There's articles on, like I said, collecting things. There's articles on wrestling. There's articles on all different kinds of stuff you won't find anywhere else. Even when I was with PWI, my favorite jobs were to cover Continental and the AWA and Mario Savoldi and stuff that other magazines weren't covering. I wanted to take on, because everybody could read about Hulk Hogan back then. I wanted to work on the up-and-coming stars. I was the first person to give people like Rob Van Dam and Sid Vicious their first press. Cactus Jack, too, come to think of it, in terms of our magazines anyway.
Absolutely.
So I like to discover the Hardys way back when. It's just, I like stuff that's a little off kilter, and that's what the site is, and I hope people enjoy it. I really do.
And I think they will. Go ahead, Rob.
We're talking about COVID before. You won't find anything serious on this website. There's nothing serious about this website. It's there to have fun with. You can refer to it every so often to see some fact you might not know, or some collectible that, like a bobblehead doll or something you didn't know exists. And that's what it's about.
Yeah. Well, I recommend it to everyone, and I hope it grows. I hope that, I promoted this article about me pretty heavily. I mean, so I hope you got some good traffic from that. We
shall see. I got to tell you, John, putting a website together is not easy.
Oh, I know. I've been trying to get mattmemories.com together for a long time now. It's been months and months.
The minute you think you're done with it, there's more to do. Websites are very hard. You got bots and trolls and malware. Yeah. You can get socked with that. I got malware 3 days into the site, so I had to go back, shut it all down, rebuild it, and start it up again with a different security package, and on and on and on and on. So it is the work part is easy. The problem is just keeping it safe, cohesive, and and professional. I wanted to at least look like it's been around for a while. I didn't launch it till I had 16 articles written on it. I didn't want to launch an empty website and then hope people come back to it.
Yeah, that's what the Matt Memories, that's what I was waiting for, is to get my archives back, and so I could at least start putting content up there. And now, we're just toying around with what it's going to be, what the vision of it is, how many other contributors are going to be associated with it, and how we monetize it. There's a lot of discussions taking place, and and then I have the book coming out next year. So is it the site going to be also hand in hand in promoting the book? So it may not launch till 2021, but now that I have the archives back, at least I have what I needed, the meat of it. Yeah. But now I got to start thinking about how I start sharing this stuff that I have back now every single week to entertain the fans and give them some exciting stuff that they've never seen before, that people have never seen before. So it's going to be a good challenge for me to do that.
I don't know how your viewers feel here, but I'll tell you one thing. I can't get enough of the old stuff anymore.
Yeah.
You're like me. You comb through YouTube and you watch it like an old company.
I do. I look for old WWF stuff. I look for Valiance. I look for Blassie, Albano, The Wiz, Graham.
I mean,
all that stuff that I loved.
One thing that I discovered, and I never saw it in my life, was Bruiser Bedlam from Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. Near the end of that promotion, it got really good. Mm. They had Scott Steiner and a bunch of local guys, basically, and Dr. Jerry Graham, who is a genius, by the way. I think he's another guy I'm going to write about as an underrated star because he had the brain.
Oh, absolutely.
Great brain for wrestling. Yep. And the last year or so of that promotion, they were still drawing crowds, still getting heat, and it was actually pretty good. They had a period 5 years before that it looked like it was dying out, and they rebuilt it simply through good angles and good work. And when I find that stuff, my head just zings because it's like, I found something I never saw before, and that's kind of cool. We never covered them that much. Yeah. I think we thought they were dead long before they were. I think the great Wojo was champion for a long time there, and it was after the Bruiser was basically the only old time star that was left. Even the old announcers were gone. They had David McLean for a while, and then they replaced David McLean with the guy who used to work in Detroit. I can't think of his name right now, but he's a really good guy with I can't think of his name right now. But
it'll come to you.
But Dave Dynasty posted all of those old Bruiser Bedlam shows, so I got to give a tip of the hat to him because, man, I love that old stuff. It's fantastic. It really is.
Yeah. People specialize in certain things, but Bob, I want to thank you again. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and our friendship goes back many, many years. And I hope to have you come back really soon.
Anytime, man. It's always fun, and I'm going to hang for the rest of the show. I want to see what you got to.
Yeah, we got some good stuff, so I think you'll enjoy it.
And like you and Alex were talking, guys, please stay safe out there. I just found a good friend of mine yesterday caught COVID, and early on we lost a family friend here, and I'll make one little mini political statement. There are people saying, well, they aren't really dying of COVID, because they had high blood pressure or this or that. Here's my statement on that. I have high blood pressure. I take pills for it every day.
Me too.
But if the bear wanders into my apartment and eats me, it was the bear that killed me, not the high blood pressure. And I'll let it stay right there.
Very true. I mean, the underlying conditions are making you more susceptible to serious consequences. That's why we haven't heard from Chris Christie in 2 weeks. He's been in the hospital.
Yeah.
So anyway.
But I just want everybody to stay safe out there because it's still around. We thought we kind of licked it here in New York State, but even here in New York. Everywhere. We have a whole mess of spiking going on around here right now.
Yeah, we had about 1,300 new cases here yesterday. So it's up, what is it, up 60% in the last 2 weeks.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the amount of infections, 60% in the last 2 weeks. So it's crazy. All right, man, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon, Bob.
You got it. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Bob Smith. And he's got the website, bobsotherstuff.com. And I want to thank him again for that article he wrote about me this past week. It was very, very cool. A couple of quick questions. You're talking about this ring. It's a college ring, Bubba Husky. 1977 when I graduated Graham Junior College up in Boston. So it is not. And I mean, a lot of comments coming in today, and I want to thank everybody for joining us. And we're going to get to some really cool stuff now. And as I told you, we got our archives back. I mean, several months and several $1,000s later to get everything done. Finally, we have them back. The first thing I'm going to play for you is something really special. If anyone doesn't have this book, I'll give a quick plug to it. Scott Teal from Crowbar Press put out this wonderful book called Wrestling in the Garden, and it has every single card that took place in Madison Square Garden up until the time the book was published. So it covers everything from the Garden right through 2013, I see it, 2015, 2016. So it's really comprehensive. What I'm going to show you first today is a wrestling match that I filmed at Madison Square Garden. It took place on October the 15th, 1973. For the very first time ever, I'm going to show this and unearth it. And it's in the complete form. It's about 3.5 minutes, and it's the main event of that card from Madison Square Garden, October 15th, 1973, which featured Pedro Morales in a Texas death match against Stan the Man Stasiak. Other people on that card, Andre the Giant was against Blackjack Lanza, and Andre beat him, obviously. Chief J. Strongbow, Drew Donnelly O'Jonathan, Dean Ho, Tanaka was on the card, Tony Gurria, all the mainstays from back in the day. But this match, and I'll share the screen here. So once again, it's going to take me a minute to set it up. And once I set it up, we'll be ready to go. Matt Memory's film clip, Morales versus Stasiak. So here we go. And it's silent. There's no crowd noise in it, but enjoy it as it is. It's been color corrected, and we are going to play it now. Stan Stasiak going into the ring with his manager, the Grand Wizard of Wrestling. Now, this is classic stuff. I think I was shooting it from either first row or right second row or first row. I used to get my seats at the Garden the day of the show. Once I was smartened up to a ticket seller named Bob, what was his name? Bob Barker or something. Bill Baker. And ringside was $7. Give him a $3 tip, and he'll give you a seat in the first row the day of the show. So here's Morales. Nice hip toss on Stan the Man. I mean, I just love the fact that I have these videos now. Stan was a great heel, and of course his finisher was the heart punch, and he tried to give Morales the heart punch there. I have dozens of matches from the Garden. I wish we had crowd noise because the heat was just incredible every time Morales stepped outside the curtain and entered the ring. And throughout his match, it was just bedlam. Trying for the heart punch again and misses. And here we go with the finish. A roll up. 1, 2, 3. It's all over. Pedro Morales defending the WWF title at Madison Square Garden. There he is. Still to this day, I wonder why he wasn't really that prominent and really as part of the history of the WWE at the time. Morales was certainly. Who was the ref? I think it was Terry Terranova. Brian last. Terry Terranova, I believe it was. And Bob Smith in the waiting room there is giving me the thumbs up, so I'm sure that was the guy. What we're going to show you next is from Southeast Asia. And I have two different things to show you from Southeast Asia, and this is gonna be hilarious. Let's see. I'm going to share the screen again. And this will have sound on it. So I'm going to play for you an angle that we did in Southeast Asia where we were in Philippine Islands for over a week at the same venue. So we have to come up with creative ways on how to keep everything hot. We switched the title around a couple of times. And here's something that we did with Cowboy Bob Orton and Pat Tanaka. So let's play this now.
What does it take to be the nation's #1 cancer center?
What are they doing? They have to play a commercial first, and this is supposed to be a private link.
Depth of expertise to turn research into breakthroughs.
Sorry about that, everybody. We'll get to it in a second here.
Between Diamond Dallas Page and Jake the Snake Roberts. Also tonight will be the heavyweight title match. Just a couple of nights ago right here, Jake the Snake lost the title to Cowboy Bob Orton. Tonight, the champ, Orton, will be challenged by someone who I'm going to bring out right now. This means an awful lot to him. So why don't we introduce the challenger?
Do we got sound there, Bob? You hear sound? Good. There's John Arezzi at close to 350 pounds. And here comes Tanaka. What we did here was basically, because he had that Southeast Asian look, we turned him into ultimate babyface because of the crowd that we were marketing to.
You've been here for a week in the Philippines, here in Manila. You've visited shopping malls, appeared on television, and you've really taken the Philippine people into your hearts. Tonight's your big night. You're going against Bob Orton for the title.
Thanks, John. I just want you, people from Manila, to understand that tonight is
about the low sound. There's really nothing I can do about that.
Nothing, it's nobody, just because he looks a little bit like these ugly people. That don't matter to me. You see, when I think of that tonight, look what happened to you last night, boy. What the same thing that happened to you tonight in front of the people you love, oh, so much. Well, I tell you, it's not going to happen tonight.
Got a question from Terry Kent. Yes, they did. And here comes sexy Sunny Beach in for the save, but he trips, falls, and Orton goes after him. I mean, this tour literally had Jake the Snake, Diamond Dallas Page, Paulie Dangerously, Warlord, Kevin Sullivan, Nancy, who played Fallen Angel. I don't think I moved that fast in a very long time. I mean, you have to try to find a way to keep everybody entertained. I mean, a lot of the same people went almost every day to these shows. And many of these shows were booked by Paulie. Bob's arm was that injured then. Pat later that day won the IWAS championship, and then lost it a couple of days after that. So anyway, that was IWAS little tease there from back in the day, 1993. There's a lot of great quality stuff. I didn't want to share anything that was the best of the best, but just kind of give you a little bit of a taste. And for some entertainment value, I'm going to share another little clip from IWS. And I'm sorry about the sound. I mean, I wish there was something I can do about raising the volume. It certainly sounds loud enough to me when I'm listening back on it, and had it on the TV last night. So maybe there's something with StreamYard which lowers the volume on it. But I'm gonna share one more. These were a series of promos, and there was an announcer that was assigned to us to cut these promos, whose facial expressions were just incredible, so funny. And I want you to look at the way he interacts with the performers. You'll see promos in this segment cut by Diamond Dallas Page, Nancy and Kevin. I mean, Nancy's Fallen Angel, who was distracting this announcer, and you're going to die laughing when you see it. Jake the Snake, the Power Twin. So there's a few, and Paulie was just classic here. Paulie was on the tour. So let me share the screen again. Let me get the tab started. Let me share the audio. IWAS promos. Here we go.
Say action. How are you feeling tonight?
Why don't you say who you are first?
Who you what's your name?
These are unedited.
I'm Luna,
Oh, it's okay.
IWA Wrestling.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
with Diamond Dallas Page. How you feeling tonight?
Hello, my name is Prosper Luna. I'm here with a big guy. I'm going to ask him some good questions, and I know he's going to give me a good answer. How are you tonight?
Brother, I never had a bad day in my life.
Yeah?
No, you go back there. You take that back, say. I'll tell you what, that's fine. Leave it to me like that again. You can do that.
Okay.
You got it.
Hey, I'm Prosper Luna. I'm here with a big guy, and I'm going to ask him some good questions. Aba, walang yan. Ang bigat na kamay ito, ah. Hey, how are you tonight?
I never had a bad day in my life, Luna. It looks like you ain't missed many meals. That's right. I'm standing tall. I'm looking good. Good God, I ought to be in Hollywood, but I'm here in the Philippines, kicking a little booty. You know, in that battle royale, 14-man over the top rope, I was this close, but doesn't really matter because Cowboy and me were real tight. And now tonight, I got to take on that guy, Pat Tanaka. A little bit shorter than me, a little bit quicker than me. Sometimes I hear he's a little bit more aggressive, I hear, but I don't think so. Pat Tanaka, check it out. Hey, wait a minute, I'm talking.
It's okay.
Shut up. Pat Tanaka, tonight you got the life expectancy of a housefly. So, Pat Tanaka, pack a lunch, bring a flashlight. It's going to be a long night. See.
Tamputang na. Ewan ko ba, ba't ako napunta rin eh? Now I'm going to introduce to you another guy who's a good fighter. His name is...
My name is Paulie Dangerously, and I am not a fighter. I am the representative of the IWAS heavyweight champion, Cowboy Ace Bob Orton. This afternoon, Bob Orton will face anybody. He doesn't care who it is because we're going to have what's called a battle royal. The first man eliminated in the battle royal will face the second. The third will face the fourth. The fifth will face the sixth, and so on, which means a good guy could face a bad guy.
Paul E. Booking.
A bad guy against a bad guy, even friend against friend, foe against foe. You might fight your own brother because it's all determined by the process of elimination. And the last man who was eliminated, his man, the man that eliminated that final guy, the last guy in the ring, will get a shot this afternoon at this, what it's all about, the IWAS Heavyweight Championship, which is held by my man, who's right now in training, ready to face any one of 20 or 30 great athletes, Cowboy Bob Orton, the IWAS Heavyweight Champion. That good enough for you? Okay? Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
That's it. Very good. Very good. Thank you.
This time, on my side is Mr. Paul again, but I'll do the talking. He'll not say anything. I'll just ask him one question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Ask me anything you want to ask me because I am the manager of the IWAS Heavyweight Champion, Cowboy Ace Bob Orton. Jake the Snake tried to stop Cowboy Bob, couldn't get the job done. Now Greg the Hammer Valentine comes out here, first week on television, couldn't take the belt away. The Powers of Pain, the IWAS Tag Team Champions. Oh, they bring in the world famous Power Twins from my hometown of New York City, flew them all the way to Manila like Ali and Frazier, and still the IWAS Tag Team Champions are the Powers of Pain. But when it comes down to Cowboy Bob Orton, who defeated Jake the Snake Roberts, who defeated Greg the Hammer.
Again, Pop, this guy is on my side. I'll not let him talk too much. I'll do the one question. I'll do all the asking. I'll do all the talking. Yes, Paul, go ahead.
Yes, Paul, go ahead. How about a nice introduction? Like here he is, the manager of the IWAS Tag Team Champions, the Powers of Pain, the manager of the IWAS Heavyweight Champion, Cowboy Ace Bob Orton, the man that pinned Jake the Snake Roberts right in the center of the ring, the man that defended the belt on our debut you on television against Greg the Hammer Valentine. What it comes down to this is right this. If you want the IWAS Heavyweight Championship, you be prepared to fight Cowboy Bob Orton, a man who's in the gym 23 hours a day, except for the 1 hour of the day that he has to wrestle and defend his belt. That's where he is right now, getting ready to fight anybody. What it comes down to is this. If you want this belt so bad, if you want to be the International Wrestling All-Stars heavyweight champion, whether it be here in Manila, in Hong Kong, in New York City, in London, or in Tokyo, if you want this belt, you come and you take it from the IWAS heavyweight champion, Cowboy Bob Orton. All right, go ahead. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. This guy's great.
Thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey, gentlemen. Maswerte ako ngayon. On my right side is a handsome gentleman by the name of Sullivan. On my left side is your name, please.
Fallen Angel.
Leave the woman alone. Let me tell you something. I've been around this part of the world. I have bathed in the river Ganges with the pilgrims. I have been to Calcutta and laid with the lepers. I went to Singapore and laid with the pipe. You understand? This is a battle royal. 14 men. In the ring at one time.
This is hilarious.
People talking about friends, people talking about foes. I just want to tell you, when I was a little kid, my hobby was going down to the junkyard, and I used to get a spike, and I used to chase all the rats into one corner, and sometimes I'd have 14 little scrimey rats clinging to get away from me, and I would just spike them and spike them and spike them. That's what will happen today.
What do we do now?
Oh, leave it to me.
Will you say something? I'll do it.
5, 4, 3, 2.
So you're fighting Sunny Beach.
You know, Sunny Beach, this is like when you're in Calcutta or when you're in Cebu City and the huge waves roll in and crash on the beach. And if anything is laying on the beach, it becomes shattered. It becomes broken. It becomes destroyed, whether it's dreams or reality. Sunny Beach, the International Wrestling All-Stars didn't come to the Philippines for me not to take it. You understand? I am here, Sunny Beach, to conquer all, and I'm starting with you today.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Scared. Gotcha.
5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm here with the warlords of pain.
Powers.
Scared. 4, 3, 2.
Close through Luna, it's here, the powers of pain.
The people don't you. They want to see what the powers of pain are about. He's a barbarian, and I'm the warlord. And together, we are the most awesome tag team in professional wrestling today. The powers of pain. Anybody, any tag team that wants to stand in our way, we defy them to go ahead, because we will destroy anything that tries to get in our path. And you power twins, you might be big and powerful, but you've never seen a tag team with as much power and strength as we possess. We will crush you. We will destroy you. We will make you into nothing. Barbarian, you tell them now. Power twins. You want this? Just come and take it. but you have to go through in front of us. Power Twin, you haven't been in a war yet. You are now facing the powers of pain. You will have the power and you will the pain. This is what we're all about. Take a good look.
Great interview, guys. Great interview. Really good. 4, 3.
This time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm with the two young, handsome gentlemen. They are known as the Power of Twins. Say something.
How you doing? Nice to see you people out here. We're the world famous Power Twins. 6'2", 300 pounds apiece. From New York City, New York. We're just glad to be out here in the Far East. We're having the time of our life.
We came here to see the tough competition. These guys are big, but we're big also. We have something they don't have. We're identical twins. We know what we're going to do in the ring. They don't know who's going to be in the ring when we're in. But when we're in, they don't know who's going to be in there. Now, we're looking for the belt. We came here for the title shot, and we want to leave with the belts around our waists.
You young gentlemen, how do you like the Philippines?
Oh, we're having the time of our life here. This is our first trip out to the Far East. We're having the greatest time. The people are beautiful, having a great time. We're meeting everybody. This is fantastic. We couldn't ask for a better time. And we know we're going to see more of the Far East like China and Bangkok. We're just looking forward to seeing it all.
Next time, I invite you to. We drink together.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Together.
Beautiful. Okay.
This time, you are my friend.
Remember, Luna, yeah? I want to hear that when you start out, okay? 5, 4.
Luna again is here. I'm here with the light heavyweight champion, Mr. Konnan.
Kumusta ka to other Filipino people. I'm here with my friend Luna. I'm the IWA, yes, light heavyweight champion. That signifies one thing. I'm the best light heavyweight in the world today. Now, you got a lot of people that come out here and they're screaming. I don't need to scream. I came to speak to my friends from the Philippines. I've had a great time here. You people have been very kind. You've been coming out and enjoying the matches. I wish I would have done better in the Battle Royal. I'm looking forward to one day wrestling Bob Orton Jr., one of the best technicians that there is out there today. But the guy that I have today, Mario Savoldi, one of the most dangerous, methodical wrestlers out there. He's 3 years undefeated. He's coming after my strap. But you know what? I've been treated like royalty here. All my friends that are here to support me and to cheer me on, I'm not going to let you down.
You heard right. Mario Savoldi. That's the name Ted Petty used on the tour for some matches. Honest Mario Savoldi, they called him.
You look really very handsome.
Thank you. You too. Yeah.
Okay. 5, 4, 5, 4.
Luna is here. I am here with a young, handsome gentleman from California, Santa Monica, Mr. Sunny Beach.
How are you people out there? Philippines, Singapore, Sunny Beach. He's here to say hello to all my fans out there. Tonight I got a big heavy match with Kevin Sullivan. He's a diabolical individual. He's got the fallen angel in his corner, but I'm ready for him. I've been training hard. I've been surfing. I've been going out there tanning, been meeting all the ladies, training hard for this match. And I want Kevin Sullivan one-on-one tonight, baby.
I'm Luna, I'm back again. I'm here with a gentleman from Japan, Mr. Tanaka.
You know, Jake, we're the most uncommon people in the world. Me and you are so different. It's unbelievable. But we have one thing in common, don't we? That's Diamond Dallas Page. And believe me, Page, when I get my hands on you, I'm going to tear you up just like I've been tearing up those people on the blackjack tables here in Manila.
He's been killing them on the tables, man. My job at the tables is just to keep the women away from it. Mm-hmm. I don't mind doing that. There's some beautiful women out there. I kind of like this place.
Excuse me, sir. You keep on talking. You never mention your name.
Oh, it's Jake the Snake Roberts. Everybody out there knows the Snake, man.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Are you sure you're Mr. Snake?
I'm sure. Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I think I'm not sure. You're telling a lie.
You think so? Why?
I think I know you. I've seen you somewhere else. You are Mr. Tom Selleck.
Oh, yeah, well, some people say I do look a little bit like him, but you know something? The difference between me and Mr. Selleck is my snake is bigger.
Whoa.
Okay. That was some of the promos, and we cut a lot of promos there because we were there for such a long time. What I might be doing each and every week here as we proceed is to have like a Matt Memory moment where I play a match, and we have so many to choose from. I'm going to finish off today with a final promo because in the archives, I didn't even realize how much Lucha stuff that I had taped in some of the shows I promoted in conjunction with AAA in 1995 and 96. I'm going to play the last clip for you is a promo that we had put together with some of the Lucha footage that we had shot out there. Boy, I saw so much incredible Lucha footage. So we'll share the screen for the final time, and I think you guys are going to love this. This is a promo from Lucha Libre, and let's give it a shout. Oh, look. Short and sweet on that one, but there's a lot to come. Believe me. I mean, I am so excited about having all this stuff back digitized, where I could find a way to help share this so everybody can enjoy it, and we'll figure that out. But I think every week I'm going to show a match or clips from a match or some films. We'll have a segment each and every week here at the show. I want to thank the great Brian Last because he, when I taped the podcast with him this week, he told me about a book that I ordered on Amazon. I could be the best wrestling photographer of all time, Theo Errett from Los Angeles. And several years ago, this book came out. It was called Exquisite Mayhem. And it was a photo book that Theo put together. A lot of the pictures I can't show you because it's all Apartment House Wrestling. A lot of it that was featured in the PWI series of magazines, Sports Review Wrestling. But Theo was one of the great photographers. What I'll do is I'll share a couple of the pictures inside the book. They're all glossy like this. I mean, there's incredible stuff of Freddie Blassie. Let's see some more of the King of Men, Freddie Blassie. This entire book is filled with just incredible amount of photographs, some of the most famous photographs out there taken, and most of these shots were in the PWI series and the London Publishing series of matches. I love this book. I've been nonstop just looking at it over the last few days. It's called Exquisite Mayhem. I got it on Amazon. It was brand new and in a wrap. It was wrapped up nice. It was, and I picked it up for $29. So I would certainly recommend to you that you pick it up. Before we say goodbye today, I would love to hear from everybody at john@mattmemories.com. Send me a couple of ideas and suggestions on how you'd like to see these archives shared with you. And of course, each and every week, if you haven't listened, it's pwspod.com. It's the Pro Wrestling Spotlight Then and Now podcast that I do with the great Brian Last each and every week. And we're in the middle of talking about the first Wrestling Fans Fantasy Weekend Convention. And other parts of the archives that I found was video from that convention that I didn't even think existed, but lo and behold, there was about 20 minutes of Weekend of Champions, actually Wrestling Fans Fantasy Weekend from 1990, which I'll find a way to share with you as well. Other things that we do each and every week is we have 2 sites on Facebook where you can get great wrestling, vintage wrestling memorabilia, one of which is the John Arezzi's Vintage Wrestling Auctions on Facebook. And we have a great auction going on right now with some incredible autograph stuff, some really irreverent stuff as well. In my archives, I'm going to show you a poster of Maccabee Mania, which was from 1991. It was a fundraiser at Jeff Buchan's house, autographed by the Iron Sheik, and it was called Grappling for the Gelt. And Nikolai Volkov versus Iron Sheik. And, of course, that big return bout from Madison Square Garden in 1967, Dominic DiNucci versus the Baron Mikhail Cicluna that we talked about. That's available right now. It's autographed by the Sheik, by Nikolai Volkov, by so many. And so that's available, too. But also, we have Matt Memory's Marketplace now up again on Facebook, and that's a place where you could actually buy now instead of going through the auction process. A lot of the items that we didn't sell during the auctions at a discounted price, and we have vintage magazines from the early 60s through the 1990s. Great stuff. And through our association with Terry Kent, who's a collector and a historian, he sent me a bunch of pictures this week, which we'll have up next week, of some incredible autographed pictures. Like, take a look at this one. Muhammad Ali signed WrestleMania photograph. If you know this gentleman who used to be called Stone Cold Steve Austin, there is an autograph picture of stunning Steve Austin. Other pictures that we're going to have available next week on the auction site. These are all from magazines. They're not glossies, but Davey Boy Smith and so many others. And we got new posters coming in. So we're keeping ourselves very, very busy. Once again, if you want to get a hold of me, it's john@mattmemories.com. The podcast is each and every week at pwspod.com, the Pro Wrestling Spotlight Then and Now podcast. And I wanted to just thank everybody. There's a lot of great comments coming in. I hope you enjoyed us sharing some of those archives with you today. And next week, Dave Meltzer has said he will be joining us. And we look forward to that. So I'll be getting a hold of Dave Monday, Tuesday to confirm everything up. And Michael Holmes, the executive editor for ECW Press, who couldn't make it here today because of laryngitis, has promised that he'll be back. And if we have Meltzer on next week, he'll get the whole hour. And then we'll bring Michael back. So that's going to about wrap it up. I mean, we went 12 minutes over the usual hour. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And until we talk more wrestling with you here at Pro Wrestling Spotlight Live next week, this is John Arezzi saying, have a great week. Stay safe, everybody. Take care.